Alright, what's up everybody? Today I'm gonna tell y'all everything y'all need to know about the demon swords in Black Clover that belongs to Asta. Now, I'm gonna give y'all a little background info about this now. Asta, when growing up, really wanted to be a magic knight, but had no magic at all. So because of this, when they went to go get grimoires, he wasn't given one. But because Yuno was in danger, because some boy was jealous that he had the 4-leaf grimoire, Asta came to help. And that's when Asta ended up obtaining the 5-leaf grimoire. Now, the 5-leaf grimoire backstory, it used to belong to a clan. It used to belong to an elf in a clan. And when the elf died, he lost it. But he had 3 swords from what I know of in the anime, which is the 3 that I'm going to be talking about in here, and then the newest sword that we just found out. But Asta ended up obtaining this grimoire, and when obtaining this grimoire, learned how to use the swords. And that's what I'm about to give y'all the details and information about. First, we're going to talk about the Demon Slayer sword, which was the first sword Asta obtained when he got his 5-leaf grimoire. This sword is a great sword, which is a giant 2-handed weapon and is capable of doing high amounts of damage on each hit. This sword has the ability to cut through magic and mana with its sharp edges and can hit magic back of which it came if you turn it to the side and use the flat part. It can also dispel enchantments and magic enhancements of the body by tapping them on the head or body with the hilt. If for people of higher control of the sword, by manipulating the anti-magic in the sword, you can use the sword to fly around and attack people from a distance. This is all I really got to say about the Demon Slayer sword, so we can start with the next sword. Next is the Demon Dweller sword, which is the second sword obtained by Asta, which is a 2-handed long sword. Now, just like the other swords, this sword can cut through magic too, but this sword has the capabilities to absorb magic as well. The original ability of this sword was to absorb magic and send it back as an air slash. After the sword takes in a lot of magic or enough magic, it will start to glow a certain color depending on the magic it sucked in or the magic attributes. And after this phase, the wielder of the sword has to slice through the air to send the magic power back out. Now, just like sucking in regular magic, this sword also has the capabilities to absorb anti-magic and send anti-magic back out as a wave of power. Another capability of this sword is it has the ability to connect with friends and allies, which means it will slowly start to gather power from nearby friends or allies, and when filled with enough power, can still use the air slash moves or to send the wave move. This sword is an extremely heavy sword and has a passive ability to take magic from people who is close to it or who is wielding it. So that means the only people able to actually wield the sword is people with no magic, such as Asta, or people with high amounts of magic like the Wizard King or Fogolio, etc. Now that I'm finished talking about the Demon Dweller sword, I'm going to talk about the third sword that Asta obtained, which was the Demon Destroyer sword. So, the Demon Destroyer sword, the third sword that Asta obtained, unlike the Demon Slayer and Demon Dweller sword, this sword has a wider edge at the top. Besides cutting through magic spells and mana like the other swords, this sword has a unique ability called Casuality Break. And what Casuality Break does is it absorbs and removes effects from spells instead of just removing mana and spells that's just getting activated, which means that it can remove lingering effects and it can destroy cause and effect relationships between them. The sword emanates anti-magic that touches those affected by magic and starts sucking the power from them into the sword. Since the sword ability affects casuality, these Trendus negate not only magic but effects too, which is why the other swords are not able to do, and the other swords can only reflect active magic. Now, because it's really not much to this sword and there's really not a lot I can share about it, this is actually all I really got. But if y'all want to fully read everything about it, y'all can go to the wiki fandom, which I'm gonna link in the description, or y'all can go to Google, because that's where most of my information comes from. The wiki fandom, Google. I hop on Discord sometimes to ask about it. That's where most of my information comes from. And finally, the last sword that Asta obtained that we're going to talk about. Now, it's not much information on this sword, being that it hasn't been out for much long to get information, so I'll tell y'all what I know. The Demon Slasher Katana is the final weapon Asta obtained so far with the ability, like all other swords, to cut through magic and spells and mana. It can also release waves of anti-magic, like if how swordsmen know special moves that let them send waves out, he can do that with the katana. And that's all I pretty much know about it, because there's not much information on it. So I'm gonna conclude this video here. If you liked it, please like, comment, subscribe, do what you gotta do, and I'm out.